Good evening, everyone. I'm Tim Ryan, along with Mary Carrillo, and welcome to our continuing coverage of the U.S. Open on CBS Sports. The major story, Stefan Edberg. 2 weeks ago, he became the top-ranked tennis player in the world. Today, on the stadium court, he suffered a total meltdown. And I suppose among those burned are those of us who had tabbed him to win the title, including the lady to my left. You said he was a total lock.
Missed it by 7 rounds.
Yes.
I was so close. Yeah, I'm very surprised that Stefan Edberg lost in the first round. You know, he was the top seed of the French Open, and he lost in the first round as well, Tim. But I just thought he was really building a lot of momentum. It wasn't there for him today. Sure wasn't.
He ran into a buzzsaw by the name of Volkov from the Soviet Union, ranked number 52 in the world, just 23 years of age from Moscow, and he just played so well, he never allowed Edberg to get into the match. Edberg himself said he was uncomfortable from the start. Volkov was the main reason.
Edberg has always called the U.S. Open the toughest of the Grand Slams. He says it's a survival test. He did not survive against Volkov. Volkov's a real high-risk player. He's very, very streaky. High-risk players usually make a lot of mistakes. Volkov did not. He gave Edberg nothing.
Soviet won the first set 6-3, and with returns like the one you just saw, led to a lot of frustration on the part of Edberg. Edberg did force a second set tiebreak, but Volkov just rolled over him with shots like these. He won the tiebreak 7-3 and took a 2-set lead. Then in the third set, he kept it up, winning it 6-2, and said he wasn't really surprised.
I saw him so many times on TV. I saw him so many times practice, and I knew how I'm gonna play against him. I just was practicing hard before a couple of weeks, but of course it's a big surprise for me, but I'm expected.
Despite his disappointment, Edberg was gracious in defeat.
Oh, he played very well, especially when he needed to. He came up with a lot of good shots on the important occasion, and that's really was the difference today.
Like Boris Becker, such a classy champion as Stefan Edberg, you got to feel a little sorry for him.
You do. You know, I think he's a lot like his countryman Bjorn Borg. It's too frantic in Europe. Borg in 10 tries never won the U.S. Open either. I think Edberg needs a quieter climate to really come through.
Volkov, on the other hand, had his bags packed. He was planning on going to play in a tournament in Berlin this coming Friday. How confident was the Volkov camp? Well, suffice it to say that Alexander's coach didn't think it was worth making the trip to New York. Meantime, one man who has known his share of early exits here of late is John McEnroe. And as his match heated up, he fought fire with fire against young Javier Sanchez, the youngest of the Sanchez team, 22 years of age, born in Pamplona, now living in Barcelona, ranked number 53, and he played McEnroe tooth and nail through the first set.
The first set was a big struggle for McEnroe. He had 21 unforced errors, but in the clutch, he continued to play aggressive tennis, and his feel was there for him at the net.
In the tiebreak, he showed some touch and some mobility. McEnroe won the tiebreak 10-8. That made his dad happy. In the second set, down 3-4, McEnroe serving. One of his few moments of frustration in the match, and he took it out on the ball. The second set tiebreak.
That shot was called out. McEnroe didn't like that one either.
Up 5-2 in this tiebreak. Another beautiful cut shot from McEnroe. And he went on to win the second set. Sanchez serving at match point in the third. Generally solid performance by John McEnroe, a straight set victory into round 2. And afterwards, he visited with us in the studio. Well, the one thing for sure is that when you play here, you know the crowd's going to be for you. We saw that at the end of the match, a real, honest, heartfelt cheer, and you responded to it. That has to give you a boost here.
Well, that feels great because I was brought up 15 minutes from here, and a lot of years when I was the #1, the big favorite, they ended up rooting for the underdog, and I'd find it hard to understand because I felt like, hey, I'm a New Yorker, and this is New York. But New Yorkers have a tendency to root for the underdog.
and being number one. I mean, I understand that people sort of want to see a great match or whatever. Now it's a different situation. I'm more the underdog. I'm not seeded for the first time since '77. And I think people are sensing that they're not going to be seeing me a whole lot more in the future. And it's really nice to be able to feel that now.
With Edberg out, I know you don't want to look too far ahead here, but you've got to be as aware as the rest of us that that half of the draw looks promising for you.
Well, it's promising for anyone that's in that half of the draw. I mean, I feel like hopefully when I look back on this tournament, someone is saying something. I don't want to sit here and if I lose the next round or the third round or whatever, it's all for naught. But when that happened, it was such a shock in a way. It sort of was like, wait, maybe something is going to turn around. And I mean, when you've been there before and you know what the experience feels like, and I've worked hard the past 3 months, it is expecting things too early. You don't want to look ahead. You have a tendency to say, oh, my God, you know, he's out, and it's pretty open in that area. But as we all know, you have to say the old cliche, one match at a time. And in that sense, it really is true for me, because I've been up and down this summer. And so for me, it is that way. But it would be exciting to be able to get a chance to play one of the top guys again in a big event.
One of the things that you've been priding yourself on in these recent matches is what you call concentration, and which I guess other people call controlling yourself. A couple of tight moments in the match today. You had to put up with questionable call. You kind of bit your tongue.
Well, concentration and controlling myself is not exactly the same, but it's definitely part and parcel. I mean, when I lose control now, it deflates me because it's not where I want to be at 31 years old with two little boys that, you know, trying to look up to their dad. So it really isn't something that I feel good about. So it actually takes something away from me when I lose control. The concentration is being focused in on the ball, doing the little things, moving your feet each point. And that's the type of stuff that's going to get me back, because I find myself getting flat-footed when I get out there sometimes. And these guys are so eager that they just take advantage of that. And that's being ready to play. That's preparation. That's what separated Lendl from the rest of the pack the last five years, the fact that he was so prepared when he went out there.
All right, John. Well, we hope that we'll see you back in here, because that'll mean you've won another match.
I hope to see you about 4 or 5 more times.
Okay. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Well, Mary, as your old mixed double himself, mixed doubles partner himself, McEnroe might say, let's get real. How far can he go?
Well, you still want to know what I think? I'm surprised at that. I picked Edberg, but I don't think he can. I don't think he can win it, Tim. I'd really be surprised. Even John said it's sort of ridiculous to even think about it. You know, but again, his draw opens up. He was in Edberg's corner. You can see who's around. If McEnroe continues on, assuming he'd beat the Swede Engel, he would probably play the 10th seed Andrei Chesnikov. And, you know, I guess that's a winnable match. But, again, that would be tough because Emilio Sanchez, the 7th seed, is also down there. Jim Grab, a big serve and volley player. I mean, at this point in John McEnroe's career, it used to be that McEnroe was always the guy. You know, McEnroe was the guy who'd look at the draw, and he would decide who was going to win or who was going to lose. Against a guy like Chesnikov, for instance, if that matchup were to happen in the 3rd round, I think it would be up to Chesnikov to decide. John he still has, you know, too many ups and downs.
Well, it's nice to have him in because Connors isn't here, and I know New York fans, and I guess just fans of old-time American tennis are glad to see McEnroe still in there if Jimmy isn't, at least for one more round. Still ahead on this busy night, too, Andre the Giant, Martina on a mission, and Capriati's coming out party as the U.S. Open continues here on CBS. The Capriati Glitterati. Tonight, the heiress apparent to Chris Evert made her professional debut at the U.S. Open. She won the junior title here last year, and within less than a year has risen to 14th in the world and the number 13 seed here. And tonight, in her debut, she faced 15-year-old Anke Huber, a very highly regarded young player from Germany. After a 4-love lead, the sets are now 4-all.
Anke Huber has been called the next Steffi Graf from Germany, or the next Capriati, however you want to look at it. She reminds you a lot of Graf and Capriati, very hard-hitting player, a lot of talent.
Now at 5-4, Huber serving for the set.
There are actually a lot of young mistakes in this match from both players. They both tried to hit great shots time and again when a good shot would have won the point. But Capriati figured that all out after a while.
Well, that brought her back to 5-all. And that service winner gave her the chance to go on and win the first set 7-5.
I think the biggest difference was right there. Capriati's serve at this stage is much better than Anke Huber's.
Capriati up 5-3 here in the second set now. Good rally. You have to remember you're looking at a 14-year-old and a 15-year-old. This could be an under-16 final. point to Capriati. And that brings us to match point. And so Capriati wins her debut, 7-5, 7-5, and spoke with Mary.
Jennifer, you spent a lot of time looking around that stadium when you walked out, even on the changeovers. Instead of looking down, you were looking around.
Yeah.
What were you looking at?
Well, I was just in awe that, I was on the stadium court and just it was so big. I was wondering if, I'd ever get to play in it when it's full. Then it'd really be neat. But I was just, kind of in awe that I was playing there.
How did you feel you played? You won the first 4 games with only the loss of 3 points, and then you lost 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, I think first I got up to 4-0 because she kind of gave me a lot of free points. She wasn't really making a lot of shots. And then when I got up 4-0, then things changed. Then I wasn't making any of the shots. And she started playing better. And at 5-4, when she had that set point, I thought, I can't let this happen. So I just, try to be more patient and try to get the balls in, and
it did work. Is that what you figured it would be like out there today? Were you more nervous than you expected, or less, or?
No, I wasn't really nervous. I was nervous that I was going out to play in stadium, but I knew she'd be a tough opponent because, I've seen her play and everybody's been talking about her. And she played very well, and she mixed up the pace good. She would hit, and then she'd throw up like the loop shots. And I thought she was good.
It was a good one to get by. At the end of the match, you had to sign so many autographs. Can you tell that story about why you signed them, about what happened with you one time?
Well, I remember like 3 years ago at the Open, I would stand by when the players come in, right when you come in that little entrance place. Well, Martina walked by me, and, actually she was coming, and I asked her for my autograph.
For her autograph?
Yes, and she turned me down. So I was kind of sad. But, and now I know how they feel. I've got some fan mail that said, I know you answer back because I know, you won't do what Martina did to you. And I was like, yes, you're right. And I just know how they feel. And so, I feel bad when I don't, but I try. I can't sign everybody, though.
You do. Good job. Well done. Nice first round for you.
Thanks.
Thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Imagine 3 years ago she was asking for autographs, and here she is signing them now at the U.S. Open. Let's look at how the other seeded women played today. Martina Navratilova, the 2nd seed in her 18th U.S. Open, dispatched an Argentine half her age, and reports are she signed autographs after the match. Number 4, Zina Garrison, the Wimbledon runner-up, ran an Austrian newcomer out in straight sets. 5th seed Gabriela Sabatini, who claims all the pressure here is on Steffi Graf, and Monica Seles walked past wildcard Kathy Jordan. And the married Maleva, one of 3 sisters in the women's draw, advanced past another young American, Amy Frazier. And as part of our look to the future, tonight we highlight as a new kid on the block, 16-year-old Angelica Gabaldon of Coronado, California. She played very well today, beat an experienced player, Donna Faber, 6'3" and 6'2". Watch for her. She is definitely an up-and-coming star. Next up, Andre Agassi and the other men's action as we continue from the U.S. Open on CBS Sports with more scores from the women's draw. A blimps eye view of the National Tennis Center, Flushing Meadow, where tonight on the stadium court, number 4 seed in the men's draw, Andre Agassi made his debut for this 1990 U.S. Open Championship against 24-year-old Grant Connell of Vancouver, Canada.
Agassi was never worried in this match. Grant Connell, a very fine doubles player, is one of the best in the world with a countryman, Glenn Michabata. But he's a serve and volleyer. He gives Agassi a lot of targets, and that's just what Andre likes.
He jumped into a 4-1 lead and looked pleased with himself. You see the new look, the bearded Andre Agassi.
Andre has lost only to 2 serve and volleyers in the last 2 years. Last year he lost to Becker at the Davis Cup, and this year he lost to Edberg. But Grant Connell was just not a good enough serve and volleyer for Andre.
Despite that winning point there by Connell, he lost the set 6-4. We're in the second now. Great running forehand by Agassi for a 6-2 victory in the second set. Here in the third, he's up 3-1 and serving. Now familiar powerful forehand, setting up an easy overhead. And he went on to a straight set victory as coach Nick Bollettieri, a happy man. Leslie Visser asked him about the importance to him of the Open.
There's no question that this tournament, more so than any other, is what I would like to win. It's definitely, in my mind, the most prestigious. I think it's such a well-run tournament, and I don't know, the people are so alive here, you know. So it just really inspires me to give it my best.
Here's a guy who has to be a contender anyway. With Edberg gone, becomes a bigger one.
Absolutely. I really think Andre's got a very good chance. You know, he's very pumped. He's already been a semifinalist 2 years in a row. And this, as he says, is the one he wants to win more than anything.
Despite his stumbling recently, he had a great first half of the year. He loves this surface, and as you heard, he loves this tournament. Andre Agassi looking to break through and win his